Hey guys, it's Jim here, and I'm with my co-hosts Patrick
Hey, what's going on?
and Christopher.
Or are you?
Oh yeah, we're virtually together for my birthday bonus. They decided they didn't want to be anywhere near me for my birthday, so we're doing this episode completely remote. It's a nice new experiment we're trying.
Spread all across
so Chris
this
doesn't
great.
get everybody sick.
Well, I gotta say it's good because, frankly, I've seen enough of you for a very long time.
Yeah, I mean we did just spend pretty much a whole week together. So
Oh, that's right. You were in the ice lands, the lands of ice.
Yes. Yeah, by the time we landed at Logan, Christopher had just had enough of me, and I made sure to stick around as long as possible.
Yeah, nothing tests a friendship like going on a vacation together. That's for goddamn
Yeah,
sure.
so I think one thing that I've got to get off my chest right at the top of this is on the flight out there, I have a bathroom story.
Excellent.
Oh.
Of course, as you do.
Yeah, so I saved this for the entire time. I didn't mention this at all on the trip or until now. But basically, I had to relieve myself. I had to make water, as some say.
Shake the
on
dew
flight
off the
out
lily.
to Iceland. Shake the dew off the lily.
Yeah.
Go see a man about a horse. Yeah, there's a lot of expressions for this one. So I went to go do this, and both of the bathrooms were occupied, so I waited outside of one, and the door opened before too long, and a sheepish-looking gentleman stepped out. I go in behind him, and it smells like a nightmare. Yeah, like the toilet seems like it wasn't properly flushed, which is insane because airplane toilets do one thing very well, and that is like suck shit down.
Yeah.
No pun intended. So, it just looked like a crime scene. So the first thing I did was flush it again to make sure that I wasn't going to cause some sort of incident on this plane.
The plane would have crashed.
Yeah. Yeah, so I flush it again, and fortunately everything goes down. So I do my thing. I wash my hands afterwards, and I open the door, and there's a woman outside waiting to use it after me. And all I can think of to myself is she's going to think that whatever, nightmare she can still smell is because of me. And I really wanted to say to her, look, I know you're not going to believe this, but the smell, I'm not the reason it smells in there. I tried to clean up the place, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's really nothing you can do in that situation.
It definitely sounds like a Larry David sort of situation where you have to explain to her, even though she didn't ask, she's like, listen, whatever you smell in there, it was not me.
And then I would have to find the guy.
Yeah.
I would have to look around the plane and be like, no, it was him. And then I would have to identify a person.
And then you go,
be
and then
like,
you,
that is the person that
gotta-
made a poop.
and then go up to them and bring the lady with you. Be like, tell the lady that it wasn't me and it was you.
And also, next time, flush twice if you have to.
And this guy also happens to be his wife's new something or other, I don't know, personal trainer or something.
Oh, that would be so good if they knew each other.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was the one who was like, all right, guys, sir, you must explain to this woman what you did. You mean my wife?
Oh, she knows what I do. All right, so it was my birthday, so we get to do a birthday bonus. And, there's nothing more that I love for my birthday than some Steven Wilson. So we're going to do his solo album from 2015, Hand.Cannot.Erase, which if you were not listening to the In Absentia Porcupine Tree episode, you wouldn't know this backstory, so I'll go ahead and explain it again. Christopher's convinced that this album is about me because back in 2006, I got to meet Steven Wilson. And I was very excited, and I asked if I could take a picture with him, and I put my arm around him, and in the photograph, he is visibly upset that I am touching him. So,
Well, I think the problem is that you very clearly have an erection in the photo, and he may have seen that beforehand.
maybe.
I like how on the so Jim does an illustration every time we get together to do an episode, and this time he drew the picture of himself a representation of him like wrapping his little mealy arm around Steven Wilson. Christopher likened Jim to a greasy French pervert. Was like,
No, I said, why do you look like a Frenchman who's about to die of a cirrhosis-related reason?
Yeah. So, anyways, to this day, I'm still very upset that he was upset, and I hope.
Do you think
that,
he ever thinks about it?
Obviously, he wrote a whole album about it. But I'm really hoping that he kind of worked through this album. Like he really, was able to get those emotions out when he created this piece of art. So we'll talk about it today. And actually, I didn't know what it was about until I read the Wikipedia article today when I was listening to the album. But anyways, a little bit about the album. The album was recorded in September 2014 at Air Studios in London, UK, and all the band members of the previous album are featured on this new recording. I guess there was this guy, Theo Travis, that really wasn't part of it for some reason.
You see, Theo!
Theo, I have
You gotta play the flute!
Well, listen, Steven Wilson, you got the kids these days they don't know nothing about the prog music. See, well, you do. You understand.
Steven Wilson plays the darndest things.
Let's look at him go.
You see, Theo, the kids say listen to the punk rock music that gives us the brain damage.
Somebody,
You see, Theo, I used the drugs.
please
stop
put
there.
this man in jail.
Yeah. Wilson also described the album as more reflective of all of the different material in his back catalog, featuring elements of electronic, straightforward pop songs, alongside long progressive-oriented tracks, which is definitely on this album, because there's a couple of 13-minuters on here. Alongside Wilson, the album features Ninette Tayeb, I think it's pronounced, on vocals, and the music is heavily inspired by the Dreaming, an album by Kate Bush, which actually I think, Patrick, you were just talking about Kate Bush the other day on the Slack channels.
I believe I was, yes.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, they
so
compared
I-
it to The Dreaming, which
Yeah.
I thought was a interesting bit of nugget of knowledge.
Yeah. So I guess the actual concept of the album, other than me touching Steven Wilson and him feeling like he cannot erase my handprint from his shoulder, I guess it was about a young woman who moved to the city and like died in her apartment, and nobody knew she was gone for like 3 years.
Yeah, and the weird thing was, like, she wasn't this, like, old spinster or anything. She was, like, a popular woman who had,
Yeah.
like, friends and family, but just, like, had slowly isolated herself over the course of time and then, like, out of the memory of her friends and family. I don't know. Pretty depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, so he's pretty much got the same lineup from the previous album, minus what he was saying about Theo not having as much input. I guess because it was I don't know if I don't even know what the hell the last album was before this one.
Well, I mean, that stands to reason because this came out in 2015, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so around then, Theo was definitely hanging around with some people that you probably wouldn't want to be hanging around with circa 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Bill Cosby.
Or
Fair
any
enough.
year at all, come to think of it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. As far as Steven Wilson's solo albums go, this is definitely probably the most accessible. I remember his first one that he put out, called Insurgentes, was good. It was a little more kind of off the wall and kind of noisy and very different from Porcupine Tree. He kind of split off and kind of did something very dramatically different than he was doing with Porcupine Tree. But it was still good. And then he did a couple after that, and I don't even remember what the hell they're called, to be honest.
One is called To the Bone.
Yeah, I think that was after this, actually.
It was. Which,
Yeah.
like, conjures up a more, like, I don't know, early 80s solo artist striking off for the first time, and he should be like in a jean jacket. It says like "to the bone" on a big patch on his back. Steven Wilson, "to the bone." I don't know.
Yeah, actually, we were in a record store in Iceland, and Christopher found "To the Bone" on vinyl, and he held it up, and he was like, "Hey Jim, look what I got!" Ooh.
I assure you, that is not the tone that I took.
Ooh, Jimmy, look what I got.
That's my impression of Christopher when he gets excited.
Look at that. They like Stefan Urkel as well.
Yeah. Stefan Urkel.
All right, let's go around the table. Let's start with our favorite track, and I'm so curious as to what Christopher's reaction to this album is going to be. So, Christopher, what was your favorite track?
Oh, lordy, do I have some thoughts here?
Oh God.
No, I didn't mind this album. I'll start with that. There were parts I didn't like. There were parts I really liked. But I'm going to say that Perfect Life was the song that kind of stuck out the most to me.
Yeah, I figured you'd like that one.
Yeah, I actually put a note there that it was kind of designed for me.
Yeah.
The textures, the vibe, just everything about it is sort of up my alley. And it's a well put together song. It's one of the ones that's not like 14 minutes long, so it's pretty easy to get into on the first listen. And it's not repetitive or kind of simple enough where I think it's going to get old after the 10th listen.
Yeah,
Right.
Something about that track kind of reminded me of Mercy Street on Peter Gabriel's So album. Like, this definitely had the most sort of progressive pop vibe to it that I think he was trying to go for on this record.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Dreaming, the Kate Bush album, it's a fucking weird-ass album. So I was kind of surprised to hear that was like such an influence on it, because I wasn't really hearing a lot of that. I was hearing more of Peter Gabriel and Tears for Fears almost on this particular song.
All right.
Interesting.
How about you, Mr. Barry?
My favorite track was Home Invasion.
Yes.
I was picturing there's a Gordon Ramsay meme that I see around that like will sometimes get edited. But it's him just going like, "Finally, some good fucking food." My picture in my head was Gordon Ramsay saying, "Finally, some good fucking prog." That whirly shit right off the bat. The All That Wurlitzer shit is just fucking bonkers. It's so good. It's super jazzy and like right up my alley. And kind of it's a bit more Porcupine Tree and like has more of an edge to it. The lighter sections kind of reminded me of 70s Genesis for kind of giving a nice contrast there. Super tasty guitar stuff on the verses. Yeah, I dug every minute of that track.
Yeah.
One of the lines of lyrics I heard as "Down home I dream of Vanna White." I don't know what he actually says there, but I assume it's not that.
No. No.
One of the
He's doing
one of the things I thought-
he's doing some he's trying to be Pat Sajak.
Yeah.
okay.
He's
Yeah,
a huge. He's a huge Wheel of Fortune fan, so it's not.
He's a
surprising.
Sajakite.
Okay. So he's a fan of conservative pieces of shit. Okay, cool. So one of the things about the production of Home Invasion that I really dug was that you could really hear the metal of the guitar strings, particularly towards the top of the song. There's some songs that where you can really hear the metal, and I'm not talking about like genre. You can really hear like I don't know how to describe it besides that. It's just you can actually hear the vibration of
you can
metal strings.
Yeah, you can hear that it's a metal string. You can almost hear the pick gliding against the the threads and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he might have, and I've heard of engineers doing this before, where they'll mic the amp and then they'll mic the actual electric guitar, so you can get that kind of.
It wasn't quite that, but yeah, no, like you could hear it through the amp more than anything. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. They actually do that quite a bit.
They put
on
some fresh
Dub's
strings
album.
on that day, but you're supposed to.
Yeah, that's probably what happened in the end. They use like fresh strings, and I'm impressed because I don't.
Every time I do, it's like getting a new prescription of glasses. It's like, holy shit, this sounds amazing. Why don't I do this more often?
Every time I do, I'm like, oh, well, there's 20 minutes wasted.
Oh, that too, yeah. It is a pain in the ass. I just make Gina do it now.
Oh, that's really cool of you.
Yeah, I'm terrible. I'm a terrible husband.
Honey, can you do this for me, please?
That's exactly it, though. No shade.
Jesus.
She's like,
I mean,
she's
they're
like
minimal
hanging
shade.
out. She's like doing her flowers, and Patrick just kind of comes into the room, doesn't say a word, and just like slowly hands her the guitar.
She's a good sport.
Nice. All right. My favorite track is actually going to be, which is pretty much the second half of Home Invasion, but it's actually Regret Number 9. Because that fucking synth solo, Jesus Tap Dancing Christ, it's just fucking great. And the guitar, every instrument in that fucking song is stupendous. Yeah, I don't know, just really gives me
that was the
warm
moment where
fuzzies.
I actually wrote down a note that I really like his lead guitar playing, because he's a very competent guitar player and he can do extremely flashy things. But what he does, as opposed to a lot of the super masturbatory guitarists out there, is that he uses like runs or like really impressive little flourishes as transitions, as opposed to sort of the showcase or the like the centerpiece. So
Right.
he's doing very lyrical, melodic guitar playing that causes you to actually feel something and respond to the chord progression, but at the same time, he's able to do like a little bit of flash in between.
Yeah, I mean, and I had a note about that too. He uses the guitar as basically another vocal part. And if you listen to his earlier stuff and you kind of read into how he was, you know, what he was listening to as a kid, he's a huge Pink Floyd fan, and you can definitely hear
You don't say.
the David Gilmour influence in his guitar playing for sure.
The synth solo in this, it's a very impressive bit of synth playing, but the synth sound is lifted directly from Dark Side.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I actually really liked the very end of Regret Number 9. Had this nice little like sad piano
Banjo.
flourish with some lonely banjo. It gave me a nice little feeling there. I liked that bit of instrumentation.
What song was it? So speaking of Pink Floyd and Pink Floyd influence, if you in Transients, that synth kind of blast that happens, it reminded me of Welcome to the Machine. It was like,
oh yeah, I can hear that.
My one note for Transient was a mere 5 words. Great, open parentheses, Pink Floyd, close parentheses, synth tones.
There you go.
all right, Christopher, what is your least favorite track?
Least favorite track is going to be the title track, Hand.Cannot.Erase.
Together we have
It was just kind of this bombastic ballad, and nothing about it distinctly sounded like Arcade Fire, but it felt like Arcade Fire to me. And not that that's necessarily a bad thing. Like, Arcade Fire are a bunch of like shitty people. Like, I don't care for their music after they sort of like outed themselves as such. First record still holds up to me. First couple of records, and the piano in this actually, I think, is what really kind of made me think of it. Something about it made me think of Neighborhood Number 1 in the sort of like the double-handed piano leads in that.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
And I kind of got that out of it. And it's, again, it worked for Arcade Fire in 2005. I don't think it necessarily works for Steven Wilson here.
Now, I actually kind of liked that track because it had a bit more of indie rock pep to it, and I think that's probably where you're hearing the Arcade Fire. I don't know, it's something about it. I was kind of shaking my buns along to it. It had a bit more. I don't know.
Jesus Christ, man!
I don't know. It's just like it came off like the wankery was used. I thought to like came off more like interesting pop than like wimpy prog. I don't know. I didn't hate that one. I liked that one.
Well, I didn't hate it either. It's definitely my least favorite.
Sure.
And by quite a bit, I would say. But yeah.
All right, Patrick.
My least favorite was Transients. It was just kind of boring. I didn't really have any notes for it. It was just kind of wimpy and didn't do it for me. That's all I can say.
Okay, fair enough. My least favorite, I'm gonna kind of side with Christopher. Again, like, I don't not like Hand.Cannot.Erase, but it just kind of feels like the odd one out on this album. And I still like it, but yeah, like pretty much all the same sentiments as what Christopher said. It's just kind of, but still good, but not as good. All right, MVP moment, Christopher.
Ooh, for me, it came pretty early in the process. I actually had a couple possibilities, but I'm going to go with the one that's going to be easier to kind of make into a bite-sized audio snippet. And that's going to be the organ solo on First Regret.
Okay.
Or, sorry, that's going to be 3 years earlier, or 3 years older, rather. First Regret is the transition into it.
Right.
Yeah, that organ solo was just it was nice.
Yeah, the keyboard work. I made a note. The keyboard work on the end of that song was really fucking good. Nice organ tones.
Yeah, I really dug it. And the other thing that I really liked that I wanted to single out, but I don't think it's like a true MVP thing because it's sort of like it's too long of a bit, but the intro to Ancestral I really dug because it had a sort of a great sort of 2007-ish burial dubstep sort of vibe to it that I really liked.
All right, cool. So Patrick, what is your MVP moment?
So I my note here for the song Routine was I think Nanette Tayeb wrote her own Wikipedia article because it's like in not a very encyclopedic tone at all. It sounds like her publicist wrote it or something. But I meant to look up the lyrics to the song, but I ended up kind of time stamping it instead. There's a vocal melody of hers that happens around like 6.5 minutes. It's really, really nice. And then it ends with this like weird scream grunt thing. With this like weird flourish that happens at the end of it. It was just like a really crazy emotive moment for me on the record. Like I just it was really weird and creepy, and I liked it a lot.
Nice.
Yeah, Jesus. This Wikipedia article does not sound neutral.
Yeah, right.
The 2016 tour was the
Go
result
ahead.
of Nanette's short visit to the U.S. in 2015, which created an extensive buzz and high demand for this quote-unquote infectious female artist.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, this does not have a neutral tone.
No, that's a press kit if I ever fucking heard it.
Yeah. What's your MVP moment, Jim?
My MVP moment is actually also going to be ancestral. It's when the fucking song slams in.
Crawl in your decline.
And he's basically saying, "Come back if you want," and it's just really fucking epic. It's an epic slam, and just all the kind of vocal layering and instrumental stuff that's happening is just really, really moved me. So that's my MVP.
Speaking of move, I pooped during that song.
Oh, so that,
okay, so that was the song?
That was the one. Yeah. It's a nice long one.
yeah, I think this one's 13 minutes long, but
Yeah.
it's got a few different sections to it, and there's another great guitar solo on that song too.
Well, yeah, it's got a great arrangement, so I never felt bored by it.
Right.
It chugged along and did its thing. I was into it.
Yeah. All right. Comparable album.
I am going to go with what may appear to be a cheap shot, but I'm going to go with Dark Side of the Moon. Just because sonically, I think it has a lot of common ground with it. A lot of the synth tones, a lot of the melodies. It's not a ripoff of it. It's certainly an homage.
Yeah,
but there's definitely a lot of similarities there.
I even made some notes about some of Nanette's vocal is kind of Great Big Gig in the Sky-esque.
Ooh, yeah, for sure. I was hearing little bits of that.
Have I told you guys that I fucking hate that song?
Really?
I haven't, but
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to do it at karaoke.
Let me be clear. Let me be clear. I hate the album version of it because there is a version that's piano only that I do like. I am probably in the minority, but I think that the vocals ruin that song.
Fair enough. Patrick?
yeah, I had a tough time thinking of a comparable album. I was actually going to go with Peter Gabriel's 2002 album Up, which I actually did not really listen to until kind of recently. They don't really have a ton of sonic similarities, but I think just the modern take on the progressive pop genre, you could kind of draw some comparisons between the two, melodically too, and just with some of the arrangements, I guess.
All right.
What about you?
My comparable album is actually going to be in the same ballpark as Christopher. I'm going to go with The Wall.
All right.
And yeah, maybe some Sonic things in the same vein, but more so, I guess, for the theatrics of the album, I would say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Nice.
We're just chugging along here.
We're just chugging right along. Oh, hey, Patrick, we told you that Jim had horse, right?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
no,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you
Jim has now
didn't
eaten
tell the
horse,
world
too.
yet, but yeah, let's make a public announcement. Public
Yeah,
address.
I have eaten horse.
And
No,
That's it.
you don't
sir.
have anything to say about the horse.
No, sir. I didn't
No,
like
it was good. Yeah. Which I think it might be the title of my Ren and Stimpy podcast.
No, sir, I don't like it. That's pretty
no,
good.
sir, I didn't like it.
That's very good.
Either that
approve.
or the Wilbur Cobb show.
Ooh.
But
I like that too.
it was good. It had the pretty much the same texture as like a steak. And I mean, the place that we had it, they cooked it very well, I think. I mean, I'm assuming that's what horse tastes like and texture-wise feels like.
Yeah.
It was very tender.
Yeah, it looked pretty
was good.
rare. From the picture I saw.
Yeah, it wasn't like bleeding or anything, but it was a little. I mean, it was just super tender. It wasn't chewy or anything. It was really good.
Was
Yeah,
it?
it was good.
Was it tenderloin?
It actually wasn't, which is insane because this thing was like falling apart.
Oh,
Yeah.
What
No,
kind of meat was it?
I think
Horse.
it was just like
Oh, like
I
what
think
muscle?
it was just like a standard sirloin. It didn't it didn't specify. It just said horse steak.
Yeah. They gave you butt cheek meat, which is
mean,
sirloin.
Whatever they did with it, it worked well.
Yeah, it was surprising to me because like horses, they seem like they're very muscular animals. So like to have it be like that tender and not like, stringy.
Yeah,
was a pleasant surprise.
Well, you want to avoid the muscles that do get overly exercised and go for the ones that are like a little more internal, versus leg muscles. So those are going to be more exercised and therefore a lot leaner and stringier.
Yeah, I mean the place we went to, it's a restaurant called Tapas Bar Inn, and so it was all tapas.
Oh.
So I ended up getting the horse myself. So I cut off Jim a tiny piece just so he could try it, and then by the end I was like, "Do you want another piece?" He's like, "Yeah." He had the hunger.
I have horse fever.
Yeah, so it was the texture was very similar to steak, and I would say the taste was very much like steak too, but there was, when we were discussing this, there's a little something extra there. It's like and I don't want to say it was like sweeter than steak, but that's the only thing I can really think. There's like a tinge of sweetness to it. It kind of reminded me of like bison. If you've ever had bison, it was kind of similar to that.
I love bison. I would not have expected
it's
that
in
from
that-
horse.
It's in that ballpark, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right.
So yeah, go talk to your local legislator. See what we can do about making horse meat more of a thing in this country.
See, I mean, with cars, like we don't need horses anymore. Like you can eat them. Right? What are we gonna do with all those horses? We got to do something with them.
Yeah, we are just lousy with horses. Just the other day, I went out to sweep the porch, and I had to chase about 7 horses away from my yard.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
it's a real
they're a
problem.
real pest animal.
I mean, meat
They're out
can-
there. They're out there in my backyard. They're eating my fucking carrots.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, people think that it's not a problem, but the people who think that are people who live in the city, and they don't have carrots growing in their yard. And they don't depend on those carrots so that they can juice them later on in a very inefficient manner, about 7 carrots per pint or so, to drink.
Listen, I'm gonna get real with y'all. Like the world's meat consumption, like all across the board, is at like the highest rate that it's ever been, and it's only it's getting exponentially higher. So like we gotta make up the difference somehow. Like just make horse burgers.
Do you think horse has less of a environmental impact than beef?
Probably because cows are bigger and they produce a lot more methane when they graze. So
Yeah.
you could be onto something there.
Yeah, well,
I
just
don't know.
switch off.
Whoa! Let's slow down a second here, high speed. What kind of science are you using to determine that cows produce more methane than horses? Their diet is super similar. Cows, I wouldn't say, are necessarily bigger. They're just shaped differently.
They have but they have completely different digestive systems. That cows have like this, system that like the multiple stomachs, and like they go from one into the other, and then like back into the other one, and then like they go back into the first one, and then back like through to the 7th one, and then it skips one. I don't know. It's fucking nuts. But like
Okay, cool. So
like a
I'm
fucking-
feeling very confident in your scientific knowledge of cows versus horses right now.
you should be.
Yeah, no. As far as I'm concerned, you're the expert.
I'm certainly the loudest.
Dr. Patrick Barry, Horseman.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, should we rate it?
Okay.
Yeah, let's rate it.
Go ahead, CB.
All right. So this is actually the second Steven Wilson solo album I've listened to in its entirety. A friend of mine who is about as big a fan of Jim as of Steven Wilson once made me listen to, I believe, In Absentia.
In Absentia's Porcupine Tree. That's the one we did.
No, then that wasn't it. I forget the album. But I listened to another one of his albums, and I liked it. It was totally fine. It's just not something that I necessarily would jump out and listen to on my own at any given point in time. Grace for Drowning, that was the album.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, I liked it. There was nothing I didn't like about it, but at the same time, it wasn't something that spoke to me personally. So it's not something I've returned to since. And I would say that this album is very similar in that regard. There was a lot that I really liked about it. There was some things I didn't like about it, but at the end of the day, it's like I enjoy sometimes eating a nice turkey dinner, but I do it on Thanksgiving. It's about the only time of year. Does that make sense?
I agree.
So basically what you're saying is you'll only listen to this record if it's Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like it's a totally fine album. It ticks off a lot of boxes for me, but for some reason it just doesn't speak to me. It's not for me, even though it has no reason not to be. So for that reason, I am going to give it a strong 7.
All right.
If it had that certain je ne sais quoi that it needed to be something that I kind of got, like just clicked with me and I got, it would definitely be an 8 or a 9.
Cool.
Patrick?
So this was first time I've listened to any Steven Wilson solo album, and first time listening to this one, obviously. I was pleasantly surprised. I thought that the production was fantastic. I remarked on that in our Slack chat while we were listening. There's just, I could tell there was a lot of work put into the arrangements. So I'm going to give it a even to strong 8. And there are reasons why I didn't give it anything stronger. I think the instrumentation and what everyone was doing could have merited a 9 from me. But there's just something about Steven Wilson's vocals that are like a bit listless and kind of boring to me. I just wish like he put a little more emotion into it, and I think that's why he brought in like Nanette and I want to say there's another vocalist at some point too, to kind of build on his vocal style. And I guess I would give it a considerable 8.
I would agree that his vocals are the weakest part, because he's doing a lot of interesting things musically. Like I was saying before, I really, really enjoy his guitar playing. I think that he's super expressive as a guitar player. And his writing is obviously very, very good. But yeah, I think it is the vocals that is probably the one thing that's just not kind of hitting me.
Right. It makes it feel kind of disingenuous and maybe like kind of insecure about myself in that way too. as someone who's like also a multi-instrumentalist and like not a big fan of my own vocals. So like I just like listen to this and I'm like, when I hear things that I don't like, I'm like, bro, what are you doing? What am I doing?
What you doing, brah?
What am I even doing?
What am I even doing? Jim.
This baby's going to get a strong 9 from me. It's not a perfect album, but it's got, you were mentioning the tick boxes. This thing ticks off everything that I could pretty much think of. It's got kick-ass guitar solos, very tasteful guitar solos. That synth solo fucking kicks ass. And I know you mentioned kind of pulling from Pink Floyd as far as synth sounds go, and that's fine by me. And then also Marco Miniman on the drums he's just a fucking powerhouse, and he's just doing some really. The thing about him is he's got the ability to play and be very flashy, but it's not like over the top. Like he makes it fit. and it's not like he's overplaying
Yeah.
on the songs, but he's still doing a lot of really cool things.
Well, it's
and
like
I really
it matches
that about
the guitar parts where he's just doing like
Right.
fills, in between straight ahead melodic stuff.
Yeah, and he's using he uses his flashiness as more of a way to kind of lead into like more important parts that are a bit more lyrical,
Right.
kind of like I was saying earlier. So yeah, definitely agreed there.
All right,
Also-
what's
also-
our, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say also had Nick Beggs from Kajagoogoo.
Yeah, so I'm not familiar with that band. Should I check that out? Is that something that would be up my alley, Patrick?
No, I mean they just did that they were the one hit wonder that did Too Shy. I think the rest of the album was kind of not good.
Yeah, I don't know that song. Or maybe I do.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know. I do? All right, I'll
Too
check it out.
shy, hush,
Oh,
hush.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Got a nasty bass part, but
Yeah.
that's about it.
Did he do anything else besides that in this?
Yeah. He's done a ton of because he's a pretty good bassist, so I think he's done a ton of session stuff here and there, and
Gotcha.
like a few other bands.
Cool. What's our score there, CB?
That's going to leave us with an 8, an even 8.
Wow.
All right.
I think that's a pretty good score.
Yeah. I'd say so.
Ranking pretty strong.
All right. Well, we powered through that for this special birthday bonus.
Yeah.
Sure
what,
did.
What else do you guys got? You got anything you want to plug a Roni?
How does it feel to be older?
Not good.
Yeah. The 30s are they're tough. You just
It's
get
funny because it's funny because Emily is like, "Oh, you excited for your birthday?" And I'm like, "No."
No, once you reach 30, like it doesn't fucking matter anymore. Like
yeah, exactly.
it's
Yeah, it's all Monopoly money at that point. Your
Yeah,
age. It's
I was
just
trying
a
to
fucking
explain
number.
that to her. She's still a youngin', so
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. No, it's great because like then you have things happen like I got sick halfway through the trip to Iceland and I started getting better at the end. Then I flew back and like basically had what ended up being a late night just due to the time change,
Right.
And like
Yeah.
reacclimating, and then I got sick again. So like that's the kind of thing that you can look forward to now in your life. Like this is where you are, and welcome to the club.
yeah. No, I think as soon as I hit 30, things just started hurting that never hurt before.
it's fucking incredible. I
Yeah,
know.
it was like literally overnight too. Like I know, like being a kid, like you always hear people joke about it, like, "Oh yeah, I turned this age, and all of a sudden everything just hurts." That's fucking real. It's not.
Yeah,
it's
no,
not a
it's
joke.
definitely a real thing. Yeah.
my favorite fucking thing to do is sleep. It's all I want to fucking do is I wake up and I'm just waiting to get back into my bed. I just
See, I hurt from sleeping. That's another new thing
Oh,
in
yeah,
my life.
yeah.
Sleeping is painful now. I wake up and I'm like, my fucking hip hurts.
you need a new mattress.
Yeah, that's probably it too.
We are a podcast. We should plug a mattress, shouldn't we?
Yes, by Casper.
Actually,
Hashtag Casper.
we have a purple mattress. Actually, it's fucking dope.
Yeah, we have a Bowl and Branch. Is that one?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, we have that, and it's fine.
I don't know what we have. I think
Enter coupon
Emily was
code.
talking about basically our mattresses. Her dad was like, "I just bought this mattress. It's awesome. Here, take it." So now we have this mattress.
It's scare quotes awesome. Take it. It's just like a box of hay. Hey.
All right, you
Hey.
you want to plug anything there, CB?
No, I finished mixing the first round for the DCA album. All the tracks have a first pass. They're out with Todd and Rick now, so pretty excited to hear back with all of their feedback, and hopefully that will be out sooner than later.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeesh.
Patrick.
I don't know. Where are we at? Like late October now?
Yeah,
probably
it's
this
got-
week.
This episode's going to come out today. I'm going to edit it and post it today. So
Oh, it depends
All right.
if I send you my audio track today. You never know. I
Yeah.
might fucking fall asleep. It is Saturday.
If Patrick
after all.
doesn't fall asleep, it'll be out on October 19th.
Excellent. All right. Well, I do have some shows coming up. Vos, which is a band, doom metal band I play keyboards for. We're doing a show on December 14th at the Jungle with a surprise party. That's actually Lil's band as well. You could check her out playing drums, and me playing keyboards and wearing a cape with Vos, and that's at the Jungle in Somerville. And then I think Smell and Butterscotch are doing a show at Once in Somerville together on the 17th, Tuesday the 17th. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually going to have a full week of gigging.
Oh,
and by
shit.
full, I mean 2. Because so I'm playing with you at Once, and then on the 15th, Seth actually hit me up. I'm going to be filling in on drums for the Big Lonesome for a holiday party. So
Oh man, that'll be interesting. I'll probably want to check that out.
he hit me up and was like, "Hey, you want to fill in on drums for this Christmas party?" He's like, "You get some free roast beef or free prime rib and free booze," and I was like, "I'm there, man. I'll do anything for
it's
some
gonna be
beer
like
and a free slab of meat."
Oh, it's gonna be like
be there
Christmas
in my-
time. Yeah. That'll be
Yeah,
nice.
Seth, I'll be there, and my gout won't be far behind.
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, you know what though? I ate a pretty good amount of red meat and drank a pretty good amount of beer last week, and I feel okay. So
You even had a little bite of shellfish.
yeah, that was terrifying.
Cool. You had some
Delicious, but terrifying.
some squid beak.
What?
Yeah, what the hell did you just say?
Oh wait, squids aren't shellfish. Sorry.
They're mollusks, but
No, they're not.
shellfish,
They're
no.
they're what are they called? Cynopods or
Squid.
something?
Oh, cephalopods.
Snuffleupagus.
Yes,
yeah, that's the one.
yes, they are Big Bird's imaginary friend who later became real.
Oh
Yes.
wow, Snuffleupagus did become real. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, I think they canonized him.
No, like in real life, he wasn't just a Muppet. He was like a real creature.
Yeah, he's now a paid actor.
Yeah,
Yeah, he gets scale at least.
that is a sentient woolly mammoth that looks like a Muppet.
I wonder where he lives, because like he can't live in a standard apartment or home. He might be able to rent a garage or something.
Probably
but
North
I can't
Jersey.
imagine that's too warm. North Jersey.
I was thinking Williamsburg, Brooklyn. He's a
Nah,
hip. He's a hip guy.
Dude, where would he live there?
I don't know.
He would need like a special door installed wherever he's going.
doesn't-
So if he's in an
He
apartment
doesn't
building,
need
they need
He doesn't need much. He's a minimalist. Just needs a
Yeah,
place to put
I'm-
his tissues and so he can snuffle.
Yes, and
Guys,
yes.
all right, look, I just looked it up. You're both wrong. He's living out in Encinitas, California now. He's married with 3 children.
Oh,
Okay.
That makes sense.
Hey, here's a question for you. Is he married to a human? And if so, what kind of abominations against God has he created?
Last I heard, I think he's married to Barbara Walters.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, all of this adds up.
Yeah. For 35 years too. It's crazy. It's been a while since like the late 80s.
It's
Yeah, no,
great when you
his
see
his
those
kids,
real-
his 3 kids are all grown up. They're actually in the film industry as well.
Oh, okay. It's great when you see these real life Hollywood romances that just last and make
Yeah.
it. You know.
Yeah, one of the kids from Stranger Things I think is one of Snuffleupagus's.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, the one with the curly
offspring.
hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus. All right.
And then on a high
Yeah.
note.
All right, I didn't plug. No, I haven't done my plugs yet.
All right, plug.
So I actually have a couple of things. So if this does get released today, which it should, I did some audio work on the film Stray, which is having its world premiere tonight. And I will be attending that. Did some boom op for that, and a little bit of audio recording.
Will it be available online afterward for people who can't make the screening?
Yes, I believe so. And it's being put out by Fatfoot Films, so check out their website for more information. I believe it's just fatfootfilms.com, or you can go to their Facebook page, Fatfoot Films. And then also my blog for my studio. I tore down some walls yesterday. Feeling pretty good, making some progress. I basically decided that after I cleaned out the unfinished side of the basement that's going to become the live room, I was like really kind of sitting and thinking about the structural engineering facts of what's going on in the basement, and I was like, you know what? I'm gutting the whole fucking thing. So I'm tearing down. I'm not going to tear down the studs, but I'm tearing down all the plaster and drywall, and going to rerun some wires and add some more sound treatment behind the walls because there was not as much as I would have liked to have put in there when I first built it out many moons ago. So that's all getting redone, and I'm feeling pretty good. And check out my blog if you want to see the progress, buildingahomestudio.wordpress.com.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
I'm finding all kinds of fucking mouse shit, which is driving me insane.
Oh, no. You need a cat.
Yeah.
You
Can I
need a
borrow,
cat. Well,
can I borrow one of your cats?
Yeah, you could take one of them. You can take
I'll
Gunter.
rent-
He's being a little
rent a
asshole
cat.
lately.
Who is?
Well, if you collect enough,
Gunter.
Gunter's being an asshole? What's he doing?
I don't know.
Wants
just-
too many uppies?
No, he doesn't anymore. I started letting him outside. He thinks he's fucking king shit now. And like,
He's like, I don't fucking need you anymore. I've got
Yeah,
this
exactly.
whole big world.
in fact, like, yeah, when I try to pick him up, he thinks he's, too good for it or something. He yells at me and just he only comes in when he wants to eat.
Yeah, you gave him a taste of the world, and
Yeah, that's what
Well,
happens.
yeah.
flew too close to the sun.
That's exactly what happened.
All right, let's wrap this baby up. So this has been Hand.Cannot.Erase by Steven Wilson.
Yeah.
I love shoving Steven Wilson down your guys' throat. It's fun.
Anytime.
Yeah. All right. Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday, Jim.
And
Yeah.
Flea and I share a birthday.
Yep.
Which one?
What are the ones that's on Gunter?
Yeah.
That was a tick, not a flea. It's deer tick season.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what sucks is like, so I've got all these woods behind my house now, my new house, and I want to go out and walk through the woods, but I'm fucking terrified of ticks.
Yeah,
So
fuck
it's
that.
like-
Yeah, the cats keep coming home with them on them, and it's fucking nasty. You gotta, like, pull them off. They're like these little fucking cranberry-sized things.
yeah.
Not that big, but...
Yep. They'll fuck you up.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Jim,
I'm Patrick.
I'm Christopher.
and we'll see you guys in birthday hell.
Remember a time when the internet wasn't a cesspool? When Nickelback was not the lazy comedian's punchline? When The Last Jedi or Ghostbusters didn't ruin anyone's childhood? We do. Nickelbackin' is a monthly podcast hosted by 3 longtime friends who really just need an excuse to shoot the shit. But in the meantime, they'll call out some internet hyperbole bullshit while they're at it. Do you secretly enjoy the smooth taste of Dunkin' Donuts coffee? Maybe you're a fan of the work of Jim Carrey. Hell, maybe you even like Nickelback. We don't, but we're in their corner, and by default, we're in your corner too. Listen to Nickelbackin' on the Zero Science Network, wherever you download podcasts.